Welcome to Women's Work Podcast on Expanded Understanding. My name is Angela Miller, bringing you Robert Gauss, Ancient Mother, although it says Mother. This show today is all about revoking female contracts and liberation of the soul. Blessings, Willow. Reminds us of who we are as women. This is all of us now. Thank you for joining us. Wow. Robert Gauss on YouTube, Ancient Mother. sets the scene strongly for today's show. My name is Angela Miller, and this is a Women's Work podcast. Apparently it's still playing, not sure why. And we today at Women's Work podcast, we are inspired, absolutely inspired by a series of contract revocations we've been doing around, and it takes a very important part of our lives. So today we're going to be going into that, looking at a divine feminine sacred contract revocation that endeavors to free you from a system of patriarchy within your female physical frame, within your spiritual frame, that all interact as one and keep you locked in to a life that is maybe 10%, 20% worth or level of your whole existence. So you're not in optimal freedom in your body as a woman. Now, that's really important, an important core idea, concept at Women's Work, because until we begin to be free, are free, completely liberated from all male projections, thought forms, energies, then we're going to be completely absorbed in those energies and frequencies, and they will dictate how we function on a physiological level within the human body. And some may think, well, how does that even happen? Well, in the past experience of my career, I've worked very closely with many women over the years, and most of the common features that women in their bodies will feel, the feature of pain. And this pain comes in various areas, but predominantly a woman will come to me because she's experiencing hip pain, heart pain, stress, anxiety, depression, womb pain, menstrual pain, post-pregnancy support and recovery for wombs that have undergone masses and masses of medical intervention. Now, this is a subject that is very close to my heart, because this is how I have made it through as a woman, by revoking soul contracts with everybody that I've ever met, ever, on a continual basis. And you can do this yourself. And what it begins to do eventually is that within the first time of doing one of these soul contract revocations, it begins to free up the space around you. So you are getting clearer and clearer and clearer of these entanglements coming in by people projecting or trying to harvest your energy or sexuality, or connecting thought forms to you that maybe have an impact on the way that you think, the way that your belief systems are, and most importantly, about what you accept in life. Now, when you're born into a patriarchal system as a woman, you become used to certain things that become normal in your life. The way that you are looked at, the way that you are observed, the way that it might be the way that you move around in your daily life. There might be male energies in the workplace focused on you, on a particular body part. All of these things have an impact onto the way that you exist as a woman in this time frame. So part of the reason, and I feel the importance of this concept at Women's Work, is that it begins to help to liberate the soul. And liberate the soul from those incoming negative contracts, those birthing contracts that we received that we never knew we had. This begins to break down programming that is sent at you. Now, there are many types of contract revocations out there. Loads, in fact. But what I've done today is picked one that's particularly good and really drives the message home. Now, I'm not sure if Rocio is going to make it with us this evening. She was going to transmit in Spanish, but we will put a link there of her recording that in Spanish so that women can follow the instructions all over the globe. So it's not just limited to British or English speaking people. in any way, shape, or form. So before we go into that, what I wanted to do was talk to you about womb health and hip health and energy health. And I came up and found this quite interesting story behind this. This very interesting, here we go, picture. Now, this picture is from openhandweb.org, Understanding Energy Implants and How to Remove Them. Now, I went to hear this guy talk in Glastonbury many years ago. It was quite a fascinating discussion. He was just kind of opening up a 5D space where people might not have been familiar with it. There was a lot of heavy energy around at the time in this particular area, which meant that it went out across the world via the energy grids and ley lines. So what I want you to do is just have a look here. So here we have a picture of energy blockages. We have little patches. We have non-fluid areas. And you think about it, all of these energy points, looks like a Curlian photograph of some sort, or maybe it's some sort of art print. But what he goes on to say, human DNA can be influenced from the fourth density field. So he's referring to the fourth dimension there. Since DNA is a receiver transmitter of frequency, then by projecting a particular vibration into the DNA, like a laser, sound, or even thoughts and words, can shift and change it, or even block it and dumb it down. Now, this is quite interesting. So how would it block it down? So if you had a system that is continually blaring out media types that do not support women in any way, shape or form, they don't, they're negative towards the human instincts of women. You're not allowed to behave in a certain way. You're not allowed to have many varied partners because you are frowned upon. You might not earn the same as your male counterpart at work. You feel that you have to compete in a man's world. All these really sort of ideas of feminism from back in the day that were projected into the conscious collective or unconscious collective. And we kind of took these concepts on in the 60s with the birth of the CIA programs, Tavistock Institute rollouts of social engineering programs for governments and local communities. But, you know, the key thing here is that it can be used in all ways. It's not just targeted at women in a patriarchal society. Most people think, yeah, you're a raging feminist, you go around burning your bra, but I don't. Actually, I'm very happy being a woman. I'm quite balanced. I don't have any issues with men whatsoever. But, you know, we all experience this to a certain degree, male or female. Okay, there are no holds barred here. There really are not. No human has been sacred in this process of disruption of human interaction, spirit interaction, etc. So you can go on to see that if you put those lights out there, let me just go back to that picture. If you put those lights out, then your parts of you become defunct and misfunctional, not firing. And all of these areas down here are where you're going to sink most of the extremities of the emotions associated with this level of DNA control. So when your DNA is controlled, you are literally plodding along, right? You can't grow, you can't evolve, you have no thoughts, but you're not even aware that you need them. You might feel like that's normal. You don't get excited about anything. There is no, I suppose, congruent life force that is streaming through you. You're not feeling that great. So all of these things have a nationality, I'm going to go on to say. So in different female countries, in different countries across the world, there will be different energetic barriers that affect women. So in Britain, what we have is the highest rates of osteoporosis in the world, because of the energetic blockages that women have felt in this country due to the DNA lineage ancestors and the battling and the warring and the control that's gone on here for thousands of years. But in particular, what I'm referring to is the last 1,000 years, and before that, obviously, of suppression through the Industrial Revolution, through the apparent Renaissance, where childbirth and abuse was rife in every community. There were interlopers and raiders going around, and war and land battles all took its toll on the contractual level of a soul that has potentially been here for 2,000 years plus. So we at Women's Work take the eternal view of how we can effectively remove these blockages that have affected our stories as women. So every woman has her story, every woman has had her journey, and this is all about unlocking your journey. So when we begin to become free of all these negative projected belief systems, maybe they've been from a child growing up, maybe you've been in quite a heavy male environment, all of those things have an impact on the way that your body functions. So I was talking earlier on about heart, hips and womb. These are particularly important areas. So in the hips, obviously, it keeps us stable. It's where we house our sacred womb area, our physical womb area. Our dreaming area, our creative zone and areas. And often when we interact with guys, men, we can receive those energies into us, those alchemical energies via the sperm process, and a process of alchemy and synergy brings that energy and emotion into us. So essentially what we are receiving is male energy, thoughts, processes, future wishes, dreams, outcomes, negative dreams and outcomes, all at the core of us. So if you have a buildup of this energy over time, maybe this area is not free within you, there's pain, there's blockages, we would need to look at the contracts that we've held with men, partners, etc. Anyone that had been deeply intimate with our female zones there. So that would be one way as a woman to start the defrag process. But then it's taking it out into the wider levels of society. What is expected of you as a woman, how you're expected to behave, what colours you're supposed to dress in. You're meant to do is what your parents tell you. You've got to accept all the beliefs and traditions that have been handed down to you. Or do you? So if you, like me, feel very strongly about breaking every single tradition in your suppressed female line, then this will be for you. Now, you might think, well, my female line isn't suppressed. I come from a line of empowered women. Well, that's absolutely wonderful. I believe that that's true to a point, but still, they would have still had to have undergone some sort of historical input, effect, or issue as a result of that suppression. And it's an eternal factor that we're taking into consideration here, the eternal factor of your existence. How have you been treated in your female lives? Were they satisfactory? Did you learn those lessons? So there's a much bigger picture unfolding here. So one of the things, was it the one there? Characteristics. Oh, the energy bodies. This was quite interesting. I'm just going to pull this screen off and go to next screen, which is, it's not that one, it's not that one. No, it's not that one. 10 characteristics of women's energy bodies. And this is from an article in 2009 from Mummy Mystic. That sounds very nice indeed, because women are mystical and mums are definitely mystical. We have some of the most ignored mystical experiences on the planet. So women's energy is centripetal, men's is centrifugal. The idea here is that by default, women's energy circles inwards and is therefore attractive, drawing things towards it, which it is. It's like a toroidal universe of creation, while men's default energy cycles outwards, projecting rather than attracting. So you can see how in a relationship context, in a life context, that women's wombs attract, they draw energies towards it, they transmute planetary energies, all sorts of things like that. Gosh, we're super beings, aren't we? So both men and women can control and reverse this with their intent, but by default, a woman's energy is centripetal. That's such a nice way of putting it. This especially comes into play with sexual energy, and the different ways the two sexes try and attract sexual partners also comes into play in families, when the woman in any group is said to be the energetic organizing principle because of this centripetal quality, the mother. Women's bodies are more sensitive, absorbent. Yes, I would agree that. Women's energies are also generally said to be sensitive to external energies and more likely to absorb these energies rather than repel them. This has pros and cons, as an external energy can serve as raw data for intuition, but it can absorb too much energy, the wrong kind, can deplete or disperse a woman's energy field more quickly in certain situations, for example, in a large cloud. So with this, the managing densities, managing the dense energies in public places is really important, but most importantly to you on your inner core levels, your boundaries about what energies you're prepared to let into your zone and how they function and interact with yours is key. Women's bodies, energy bodies are more expansive. Well, I think everybody's expansive, and I think that it's a balance, actually. I'm not going to agree there. Women's energy bodies are fertile ground for energy lines. Well, this is a touchy one. They're saying, ooh. The idea is that one is that in interactions with others, and especially in close relationships, women become the anchor line energetically for both parties. In sexual terms, some traditions teach that a woman gets an energy line planted on her body with every sexual encounter that can take years to cut if she wishes to do so. And this is not the case, or at least so for men. It's not just sexual energy lines. It's really all kinds of relationships. The idea where women naturally harbour these lines, and this can become especially problematic for us if we are anchoring too many people for us to handle. Okay, wow, that's fair enough. That's basically saying that what I've been talking about, cycling energies, life phases, second chakra plays a unique role. Yes, everything happens from here. It's the chakra related to women's reproduction systems, dreaming body, your relations, how you relate to the world as a woman, and earth as well. Okay, so there we go. So a woman's sacral chakra is a unique spiritual doorway. This comes up in some form in the sacred feminine traditions, even in those that don't define chakras per se. The idea is that the second chakra, or corresponding area in other systems in women, can function like a portal, a doorway to other dimensions and spiritual insight, in a way that mainstream teachings only the third eye and crown chakra are said to. Well, it's probably written by a man because they didn't really want to know about a womb. But that's just fabulous. And that gives us a really good idea of what we're dealing with. So, I'm going to take a deep breath. And I'm going to bring into the picture here. This is a contract revocation for the sacred feminine. My computer's probably going to explode right now. I'm just going to stop that feed there. Excuse me. And I am going to bring this screen up so we can go through it. Here we go. and this is Divine Feminine Revocation by Galactic Historian. This is a really beautiful piece that really does the job. So, and I'm going to talk about it after. So I'm just going to go into it. It's about 7 minutes. And this can be played back, listened to, but also I'll include a link to it somewhere in the comments section. And let's, if you do this, I'd be really interested to hear about what changes for you in that moment as a sentient female. Okay, so I call to all spiritual contracts that exist within my past, present, and future beings, selves, and existence in this dimension and time stream, and all time streams above and below the Earth-centric sine wave of coexistence. At this exact moment, in the ever-present co-creating moment, I summon all DNA lineage ancestors to create a unified, proper spiritual court of equity, so I may find remedy and resolve with all contracts that have inserted fine print during the pre-birth and birth process. I call forth the proper spiritual court of equity to hear my decree of contract removal. I revoke all spiritual contracts with all earth-based religions, cultures, governments, belief systems, and industries that dominate and control the divine feminine power in our world and create an energetic imbalance that affects every man, woman, and child on the planet. I call forth all ancestors of all soul relations to hold space in this spiritual court of equity. I call to Earth Mother and all her light denizens within all inner and outer space to come forward and occupy this spiritual court of equity. O great mystery, who is the source of all power, I call to you. Come with your sacred synchronicity, so all beings may hold space within unity consciousness. I hereby revoke contracts of all religions and cultural belief systems that place the feminine in a dominated position of inequality. These include the birth certificate, the marriage contract, projections of unequal pay, the inability for a woman to earn a living, own land or a business, or receive an education of her choosing. I do not consent to movements that were created and funded by the Tavistock Institute, CIA, to separate a woman from her divine feminine power, foster a hatred for men, and create separation and division in the soul family unit. I hereby revoke all cultural belief systems that create the expectations of a woman's duty to hold an unrealistic burden alone and suffer in silence. I do not consent to all social policing systems that have been put in place to make a woman feel like she is too sensitive, too emotional, or out of control in the attempt at gaslighting a woman's soul to make her feel like she is unstable or insignificant. I hereby revoke all contracts of all cultural belief systems where female children are murdered at birth, sexually mutilated as a supposed rite of passage, sold off into a billion-dollar child porn industry, or trafficked as sex slaves. I do not consent to the porn industry that has been the breeding ground for sexual perversion, spiritual contracts, and the exploitation, degradation, victimization, and bastardization of the divine feminine power. I hereby revoke the following spiritual sexual perversion contracts that are targeted at separating a woman from her divine feminine power, all group sex and polyamorous programs that are all a perversion of divine sexuality aimed at making a woman feel that she is somehow not enough, all double standards and cultural belief systems where recreational sexual promiscuity, multiple wives, harems, and mistresses are allowed and celebrated for a man, but cause social ruin for a woman. All programs that create projections that men put on women while masturbating, as well as perverted fantasies that are used as a barrier between the heart space of a man and woman in a sacred sexual bond. I do not consent to these spiritual sexual perversion contracts. You have no power over me. I hereby declare that Earth Mother is in dominion with me, as well as my soul family and ancestors. I declare that I am now clean from these projections of sexual perversion, and I return to the source of innocence as a divine feminine sovereign being. I hereby revoke all contracts and concepts created in innocence or blissfully ignorant states of being. I hereby declare a new form of spiritual and physical cleanliness. I revoke all previous self-created concepts of cleanliness and any perverted attachments to myself. This new invocation of cleanliness removes all previous concepts of sacred sexuality, sensuality, recreational sex. I bring them all back to the 0 point in the fetus in the mother's womb. I reconnect all my DNA strands to that of the heartbeat of Earth Mother. The sacred feminine is connected to her heart in her sacred feminine space and does not deny her menstrual cycle. She accepts it as a time of introspection, retrospection, and reflection. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the entertainment and advertising industry that has created programs of self-hatred, low self-esteem, self-medication, self-mutilation, eating disorders, etc. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the medical industry that have damaged a woman's health and her ability to reproduce according to the natural laws of Earth Mother. Birth control drugs and other chemicals in our food, water, and air that cause sterility or over-sexuality, as well as clothing that is damaging to a woman's health, such as bras, heels, corset, bound feet, and tampons. I revoke all birthing contracts created through C-sections, pregnancy drugs, prenatal x-rays, vaccinations, incubations, children who are not put on the mother's heart after birth, removal of the placenta, and cutting of the umbilical cord, which can stay intact for up to 4 days to allow for the child's heart bond with the mother and father. I revoke all contracts that force a woman to carry and birth a soul that is not of their co-creative divine choice with their selected or bonded sacred masculine. This includes rape victims, teenage pregnancies, forced or arranged marriages. I return to Earth Mother, the natural incarnation grid. I now permanently delete the reincarnation grid from my soul existence. I do not consent to all programs aimed at making a woman feel too fat, too thin, too old, too young, too black, too white, too ethnic, too rich, too poor, or any other projection at all that makes a woman feel that she is somehow not good enough. I hereby declare that I am more than good enough. I am infinite consciousness. I am God Goddess incarnate. I am a sovereign being, and I hereby reclaim my divine feminine power in this spiritual court of equity. I call forth all the ancestors to honor this reading of my free will and enter it into the Earth Akashic record for all sentient kind to understand our freedom comes with the use of free will at all times. Wow. That's blown me away. Quick sip. Now that was really strong, reading that vibrational frequency of saying no. As I was saying it, I felt various energies moving away. Ones that I'd forgotten about. So when we direct that vibrational information directly into the physical human form, sorry, do apologize, directly into the human physical form, into the vagus nerve, into the parasympathetic central nervous system, into the heart, into the womb. When you resonate, all of you, at that level of being free from those projections, internal and external, you become to be slightly more defined in your personal boundaries about what you will accept and what you won't in your lives. You'll be able to become more aware of what is coming in at you, what is coming your way. And this is something that all women need to be cognizant of, and it's okay. You know, it might seem really complicated. It might seem that it's too long. It might seem that you don't have the time, but everybody has the time now. Everybody has the time to free themselves, the no time to free themselves, to liberate themselves from these contracts of the past. And we really need to be mindful and aware that everybody was born with birth contracts, but we just don't know what they are. We don't know how they're going to affect us. We don't know how they're going to affect our lives. We don't know how they're going to affect our relationships. We just don't know. So how do we move forward from that? How do we move forward and free ourselves from these times? Well, the contract revocation is an ancient prayer form. And so is the spiritual court of equity. So when you apply and give yourself to the great spirit, to the great mystery of all that is, was, and ever will be, you're sending all your biological, your emotional, your spiritual data into the spiritual court of equity, uploaded via your own source frequency connection. Okay, so you bring it up and out of the body of your experience. And it's a really ancient process that was superseded by maritime law and other trickery systems designed to keep you in place. So once we've uploaded our experience into that spiritual court of equity, we can then bring remedy and resolve into our lives. And it's remedy and resolve into our lives how? So we remember all the times where we felt particularly terrible about a relationship, a situation, a family situation, and we all felt pretty terrible about it, and that emotional pain has stayed in the body. So once we begin to unlock these spiritual contracts, these family contracts, etc., we become aware of what we're carrying in the body. So when we revoke those contracts and make them null and void by saying, actually, this is a free will universe, I cancel them all in every dimension, timeline, universe that ever existed, across your whole soul's journey, not just this lifetime, do them all. Do them all as a male or as a female. Now, then you begin to have a different set of protocols. So you've gone through the spiritual court of equity, you've uploaded your data, you've revoked with your greatest strength, not anger, your greatest strength as a woman. This is the strength that has brought you to the point in your life today. You've made it. You have a certain level of well-being in your life. Now, once you start to unlock this begins to unlock everywhere else in your 1 degree of separation, in all of your degrees of separation. So this vibrational frequency becomes a frequency in your body, in your blood, in your soul, in your bones. So you literally are a walking female spiritual court of equity that's roving around the world, and everything's going into resolution. Everyone that you come into contact with, it just becomes your spiritual freedom. And it clears the way for you, every footstep you take, for every new choice that you make. It clears the way to be unclouded from contracts, vows, promises, agreements, oaths, pledges, pacts, allegiances, loyalties, curses, spells, anything that has plagued your soul in your past life scenarios, because there's a very good chance that you are carrying bleed through into your central nervous system, into your light body function dynamics, which means that the memory of it is imprinted into your physical, set to repeat again. set to repeat again. That sounds like Groundhog Day. So I'm likening that. I didn't really like that film, but the concept was great. The concept of waking up every day and it was the same, living the same pattern of existence. So when you really begin to bring these into your awareness, into your existence on a regular, repetitive basis, you begin to see vast amounts of change. How you interact, how others interact with you. It's the interactions are a lot clearer. You're able to note what is coming in at you. You're able to use your female frequency to repel any unwanted dense frequencies coming in at you. You know, we've all been there, like if we've been to a shopping centre or a mall or some really congested area where there are lots of people. And then 3 hours into it, we begin to feel tired. We just, our transmuting abilities are a lot less because we've been overrun. And we haven't cleared the backlog of the past. So we become overrun in those, within the body, within the womb. And the womb energy body is the most powerful in the universe as a woman. And this is your portal of creation, of universal creation as a divine feminine co-creator. It doesn't matter if you've got a whole womb, half a womb, or no womb, right? This is still within you. In my case, I have had medical damage in that area, but I'm still able to function in that way because, as we looked at the first picture, the energy body within us does the job. The light body does the job, and it does the job at all levels. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a short moment just to find this beautiful song, actually. Just to find. Oh, pause me there. Shouldn't see that. And it is a beautiful song because we're going to do a lovely female clearing for women. So if you need to just take a short moment, I'm just going to do that for you. Perfect. I might as well stick it on because it's good. So far, so good. Beautiful colours. Excuse me. As we take a moment and become aware of the breath within. Slow, shallow breathing. Deep inside your soul. Become aware of your peaceful feminine state. the thing, the chromosome that makes you female. As you tune in to a spiral of gold above your head and all around you. As we connect to the female universal energies of now, of planet, of earth. And this will be the same for all future listeners who catch us on the replay. All parts of multiversal self. Bringing peace, waves of peace, streaming and emanating in and above you. As this vibrational resonance occurs, you feel yourself relaxing deeply into your physical female part of your heart, your DNA, your hips, your womb, your energy centers. And we breathe this golden light through your system, eliminating pain as this light gets brighter in your own spiral of creation. Feel the light get brighter into the womb, into your etheric body, into your light body, clearing the negative frequencies of old. And you're letting go of all system projections, projections from others, skewed thinking, weird, skewed male perceptions. Let them go from the patterns of your mind, the patterns of the womb. The hips become looser. Let go of fear. Let go of the energies you absorbed in the blood, DNA, in the womb. Feeling a deeper frequency of relaxation in your calves, your ankles, and your feet. Feel those spirals with the energies of Earth's pure celestial heart reach up inside your system and interconnect with you on the deepest levels of maternal existence. Her daughter of Earth. Breathe. Breathe into the womb. breathe into the vortex that is you. Relax, let go. All parts of that contract revocation, invocation, all parts of incubus, succubus grids are removed. Disengaged, unhooked. All paternal input removed. You feel the vortex of your womb become stronger. You feel that creationary life force throughout your whole system. You feel your womb physical cells resonate with this new light frequency. You feel your dreaming body clear and align. You feel your energy centers stabilize. You feel your light become one with your womb, and all programs associated with negative female function begin to disintegrate naturally. Breathe. Breathe into your sacred feminine awareness. In this moment, you define your boundaries, your sacred feminine boundaries about what you will receive, what you won't receive. This is your filter of density, filtering out the density around you to keep your womb, your body, your soul safe and free of projections and false impressions, misunderstandings, perversions. Deflect them all. And as you engage, you begin to harmonize, harmonizing more light within your system. You begin to harmonize your divine feminine consciousness. You engage with your softness, your beingness. You feel safe on the planet. You become at peace with yourself as a woman, as a physically embodied divine feminine creator. Rests. You become you, your spirit, your female spirit. And it's okay. As you sense peace within, you bring it into the field around you. Sacred feminine peace. Reflect a moment. Reflect a while on your past relationships and let it go. Lose tears through the waters if you need to. You deprogram all frequencies that have affected your DNA and your creative expression of life force as a woman. And you reclaim your power in this moment. Forgiving those unconscious beings, forgiving those conscious beings, forgiving all. Feel your divinity, your sacred feminine divinity, fully resonate at heart level of you. Prime creatress, this is you. See yourself shine in those moments. See your light light up in recognition of self, journey, and new beginnings, new choices. One's not based upon the frequencies that you carry, but heart-based choices based on the truest and highest love for you right now. So we give thanks. We give thanks to Prime Creatress, Prime Creator, our sacred Earth Mother, and give thanks for the learnings that we have experienced so far that bring us into the 5th and 6th worlds of peace, and eventually full engagement and embodiment of the 7th dimensional seed frequency existence, like our mother. Ground the energy from your heart, from your love, to the center of our mother's heart, the celestial heart that dreamed you eons ago, that connected to your soul and invited you in. And give thanks for all that you are, all that you've been, and all that you will be. Wow. I feel like that sleepy shell hat. So I hope that you're okay, that you're well in the world, everybody. Mike, I need an arm for my mic. I give thanks for all of you that have joined me this evening. My name is Angela Miller. If you would like to attend a future training, clearing on the womb and your sacred feminine, do get in contact with me on Facebook, Angela Miller, or Concordia Spiritual Activation. I'm probably going to do it through there, actually. But also you can contact me directly on Women's Work for that. You are very welcome. It will be quite an amazing clearing. There's going to be clearings coming out in a series, and it's all designed to get you to feel better about yourselves. We're going to be looking at weight loss. We're going to be looking at emotional baggage, where we store it, how we store it. And then we're going to be doing the clearings required to get rid of it and lighten the load that has been put upon you across time and in this lifetime. And so do find me. It's going to be really good. That will be a series of 3 around diet and weight. And the other series launching will be the Women's Work series through Concordia Spiritual Activation. This is going to be the Women's Work program in operation. So do contact me if you're a woman, want to get clear and want to do something very different with your female light body and integrate it into this physical. And you will be so pleased at the dramatic results you will experience. And everything will feel different. I can say that. So do get in contact with me. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. My name is Angela Miller, and this is Women's Work International podcast on expanded understanding. Do join me again next week at 9 p.m. GMT for another installment of something that we just don't know yet because we're in the now. So blessings, everybody. I love you all. Can't wait to hear from you. Do stay well and stay clear of all emotional frequencies that would affect your way of being. And that's by defining your boundaries in this world and looking at what you hold to. So when you engage with both, everything changes. Okay, this has been the Women's Work. Thank you very much. I love you all. Goodbye. Good night.